Here's a shocking truth. Over 92% of people who set goals for success never actually achieve them. Think about that. Almost everyone you know has dreams, but only a tiny fraction ever make them a reality. Why? Is it lack of talent? Is it bad luck? Or is there something deeper, hidden, silently holding us back from the life we want? Join me as I dive deep into the invisible barriers that might be keeping me, and maybe even you, from success. And by the end of this video, we'll uncover what's really stopping us from breaking through. When we think about success, most of us imagine it's about working harder, grinding longer hours, or maybe just being in the right place at the right time. We're told success belongs to the smartest, the strongest, or the ones born into privilege. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Many people with average intelligence, ordinary backgrounds, and no special advantages still rise to incredible heights. While others, talented, capable, even brilliant, never reach their potential. So what's the difference? Most of us have been conditioned to believe that the reason we're not successful yet is because we don't have enough money, enough connections, or enough time. And while those things matter, they're rarely the true roadblocks. What actually holds people back are the hidden internal battles that no one likes to talk about. It's not the lack of opportunity that stops us, it's the fear of seizing it. It's not that we don't have enough talent, it's that we don't trust ourselves to use it. It's not even society's judgment that crushes us. It's the voice in our own head telling us we'll never be enough. And that's where I want to take you today. Beyond the excuses, beyond the surface-level problems, straight into the invisible walls that we've built around ourselves. Because if we don't name them, we can't break them. And until we break them, success will always feel just out of reach. Let's be honest, if success was only about talent or intelligence, the world would look very different. There are millions of incredibly smart people, hard-working people, even people with life-changing ideas. Yet, they stay stuck. Meanwhile, others with far less talent climb their way to the top. So the question is, what's really holding us back? When we peel back the layers, the truth stings. The biggest roadblocks aren't external, they're internal. Let's break them down. 1. Fear of failure. Fear is the silent killer of dreams. It disguises itself as logic or caution, but really, it's paralysis. How many times have you thought of starting something, whether it's a business, a creative project, or even a personal goal, only to stop yourself because you were terrified of what might go wrong? Failure has been painted as something shameful, but in reality, failure is just feedback. Yet most people would rather do nothing and stay comfortable than risk failing and being judged. Ironically, that very avoidance guarantees failure. 2. Lack of confidence. Another huge barrier is the voice in your head that whispers, "Who are you to do this?" Maybe you've compared yourself to others, scrolling on social media, seeing people who look more successful, more talented, more ahead in life, and suddenly you feel like you don't measure up. Confidence isn't something we're born with, it's something we build. But because we don't believe in ourselves, we never take the small steps that lead to big wins. It's a cycle that keeps us trapped. 3. Societal pressures and expectations. Then there's the weight of the world around us. Society constantly tells us what success should look like. Go to school, get a safe job, follow the path everyone else follows. And if you dare to step outside of that box, you risk being judged, ridiculed, or even rejected by the very people whose approval you crave. Family, friends, coworkers. Sometimes it's not even society at large. It's just that one person in your life whose opinion you can't get out of your head. And so, instead of chasing what we truly want, we shrink ourselves to fit into someone else's definition of success. These 3 forces, fear of failure, lack of confidence, and societal pressure, are like invisible chains. You can't always see them, but you can feel them every time you try to move forward. And here's the harsh truth. Until you confront them, No amount of motivation or hard work will set you free, because success doesn't just depend on what you do, it depends on what you believe is possible for you. Now that we've identified the barriers, let's go even deeper, because it's not enough to just name them. We need to understand how they actually show up in our lives, day after day, often without us realizing it. 1. Fear of failure in everyday life. Fear of failure isn't just about quitting before you start. It shows up in subtle, almost invisible ways. Think about this. How many times have you had a brilliant idea? Maybe starting a side hustle, applying for a better job, or even expressing your talent publicly, only to immediately follow that thought with, what if it doesn't work out? What if people laugh? What if I embarrass myself? That's fear doing its work. It convinces you to wait until you're more ready. It tells you that you need more time, more skills, more resources before you begin. And while you're waiting, time slips away. Opportunities pass by, and someone else, someone less prepared than you, steps up and takes the chance. Failure is supposed to be part of the process. Every success story you admire is built on countless failures. But the painful truth? Most people never even give themselves the chance to fail because they never start. 2. Lack of confidence, the inner critic. Lack of confidence is even more damaging because it doesn't just stop you from acting. It convinces you that you don't deserve success at all. It's like having a voice in your head that constantly whispers, "You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You'll never be like them." Maybe you felt this in school when you didn't raise your hand, even though you knew the answer. Or maybe at work, you held back an idea because you assumed people would shoot it down. Or maybe in your personal goals, fitness, creativity, relationships, you told yourself, why even try? I'll probably mess it up anyway. Confidence isn't something people are born with. It's something they build by acting despite fear. But here's the paradox. Because we lack confidence, we don't act. And because we don't act, we never gain confidence. It becomes a vicious cycle that traps us exactly where we are. Societal pressures, living in a cage built by others. Then there's the weight of societal pressure, which is often the heaviest of all. From the moment we're kids, we're handed a script. Go to school, get good grades, choose a safe career, make money, start a family, buy a house. Success, we're told, means stability. But what if your heart pulls you towards something different? Maybe you want to be an artist or an entrepreneur or take a risk that others don't understand. The moment you step outside that script, voices start to surround you. That's risky. That's unrealistic. Who do you think you are? And because you crave love, validation, and belonging, you shrink yourself. You follow the path society lays out, even if it means sacrificing your own dreams. And years later, you wonder why you feel unfulfilled, even though by society's definition, you made it. This is one of the cruelest barriers because it convinces you to trade your potential for acceptance. You end up living in a cage, one that was built not by enemies, but by the people whose opinions you valued most. Fear of failure, lack of confidence, societal pressure. These forces don't just block us once. They shape our entire life if we let them. They keep us small, silent, and safe. And if we're not careful, they'll bury our dreams before we've even had the courage to chase them. Here's the turning point. The barriers holding us back, fear, doubt, societal expectations are not immovable walls. They're illusions. They feel real. They feel heavy. But in truth, they only have the power we give them. Think about this. Every successful person you admire has faced those same barriers. They've felt the same fear. They've heard the same doubts. They've been judged by the same society. The difference is, they didn't let those voices dictate their future. Success isn't about eliminating fear. It's about moving forward with fear. It's about recognizing that failure doesn't define you. It refines you. It's about realizing that confidence isn't something you wait to feel. It's something you build by showing up again and again, even when your voice shakes. And it's about understanding that society doesn't live your life. You do. I'll share something personal. There was a time I kept an idea locked in my head for years because I was terrified of failing. I told myself I wasn't ready. I didn't know enough. I wasn't the right person. But one day, I asked myself a question that changed everything. If I don't try now, will I regret this for the rest of my life? And the answer was yes. So I tried, and yes, I stumbled. I made mistakes. I failed more than once. But every failure taught me something I couldn't have learned by standing still. And over time, something amazing happened. Fear started losing its grip. Confidence started growing. And people who once doubted me, they began to see what I was capable of. That's when I realized the only thing that had ever truly held me back was me. And that's the truth I want you to take with you right now. The real barrier to success isn't your circumstances, your lack of resources, or the judgment of others. It's the story you keep telling yourself about why you can't. The moment you rewrite that story, the moment you decide that fear will no longer control your actions, that doubt will no longer silence your voice, that society's script will no longer dictate your future, that's the moment you begin to break free. Because success doesn't start with money. It doesn't start with luck. It doesn't even start with opportunity. It starts with a decision. A decision to stop holding yourself back. So let's step back and look at what we've uncovered. It's easy to believe that what's holding us back from success is out there. Bad luck, lack of opportunity, or the world being unfair. But today, we've seen the truth. Fear of failure convinces us to stay safe instead of taking risks. Lack of confidence silences our potential before it ever has a chance to speak. Societal pressure traps us in lives that don't belong to us, just to please everyone else. But here's the deeper truth. None of those barriers are permanent. They're powerful only as long as we allow them to be. Once we choose to face fear, act despite doubt, and live life on our own terms, those chains begin to break. Success isn't a secret formula. It isn't reserved for the chosen few. Success is simply the result of awareness and action. Awareness of the stories we've been telling ourselves, and action to change them. Because at the end of the day, the world doesn't get to decide how far you go. You do. And the only thing that has ever truly been holding you back is the belief that you can't move forward. If this message hit home for you, I want to hear your story. Drop a comment below and share. What's the biggest barrier that's been holding you back from success? Fear? Doubt? Pressure from others? Let's be real about it, because sometimes just naming it is the first step toward breaking it. And if you're ready to keep pushing past those barriers, don't stop here. Check out my other video on personal growth and self-mastery. It'll give you practical tools to start rewriting your story today. Remember, you're not alone in this. We're all facing these invisible battles. The difference is whether we let them win or whether we rise above them. So, if you're ready to rise, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's keep growing together. Because the only thing standing between you and your success is the choice you make right now.